Hello everybody and welcome back. I can't believe we're already at the top 5 of our countdown of my top 100 favorite games of all time. Don't forget we're going to have some special honorable mentions in this video as well. But before we can get into any of that, let's put up our little recap from last episode. And for one last time, let's toss it over to Past K for our rules update. Examples again, 2D Mario versus 3D Mario. And side games are allowed, but per side game series, I can only have one entry. So I can't have 2 Mario parties, but I could have a Mario Kart and a Mario Party. Big thank you to Pascal for that, and there's one more thing we need to talk about before we get into the countdown, which of course is our giveaway. And just a reminder, I still need everybody's fighters, so that way I can put them into the bracket accordingly to your specifications. If not, I'll just be assigning a random character to you. And if you still haven't entered, you only have a couple days left to do so. You have to comment on any video in this entire series of what your favorite game is, and you'll be automatically entered into our bracket to win a game of your choosing from the entire list and honorable mentions. And now that we have all of our prerequisites out of the way, let's get right into our countdown. Hope you enjoy the video. Number 5, Undertale. Since you're watching this video on YouTube and you're watching a gaming video on YouTube, you've probably heard of Undertale in some capacity. It is a 2D sprite-based RPG developed by Toby Fox, which took the world by storm back during its release window of late 2015, early 2016, not just for its unique blend of bullet hell elements with traditional RPG roles, but also for its memorable soundtrack and its character design. But most of all, the big selling point for Undertale was that it was an RPG in which you did not have to kill any enemies if you didn't want to. Everything could be spared. But I feel like this game is super important for not just the RPG genre, but also gaming as a whole, because this came out during a time where traditional RPGs seem to be being phased out over in the West. Undertale stepped greatly into those shoes and thrived every step of the way. But let's not talk about what it did for the industry, rather let's talk about the actual game itself, because it is phenomenal, and it has tons of replay value with 4 main endings and a bunch of sub-endings within them. Just as we talked about before, we have the pacifist ending, but of course you have to give the opposition equal tide. You have the genocide ending, and you have a neutral ending, and then there's a hard mode as well. But what you're probably seeing on the screen is footage from my genocide playthrough that I recorded a couple years ago. Genocide is personally my favorite route that there is in the entire game, however I do respect the replayability that all the others offer. For example, in the genocide route itself, you're not really building a bunch of the characters, rather you're building yourself up as this massive monster that is like an evil they have to take down. Meanwhile, in a pacifist route, you're pretty much creating bonds with everybody and everything you encounter, which is a drastically different experience, and it really does affect you emotionally. But I'm not going to ramble on about all the great things Undertale does and is. I'm just going to say, if any of this interests you, just play the game. It's not that much. It's fairly cheap actually. I think the most expensive version is the Switch, around $20, but even then, if you really can't afford it, you could play it cracked on PC. I don't care what you do, I just care that you experience it. Number 4, Super Mario 64. There are few things in gaming that are quite as iconic as the opening of Bob-omb Battlefield, and personally it's been a sound that I've been hearing literally almost my entire life. But this game has not earned its place on this list by being nostalgic. It has earned its place on this list by being a very intricate and hard to master game to speedrun. But that's not to say I don't have any personal connection with this game. It was one of the first games I ever owned, nor does it mean it's my favorite game. It just means that I really enjoy it, but now I enjoy it for different reasons than I did when I was younger. Like, for example, when I was younger, the third dimension of gaming was still new, and it blew my mind to see Mario in 3D for the first time. However, it did the same thing to almost everybody that encountered it for the very first time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not downplaying its historical significance in the world of video games. However, what I am saying is that it's not the only reason that I like it. One of the big reasons that I like the game today is because of its speedrunning and the culture that surrounds its speedruns. Because the controls are not only intuitive and simple to grasp, but they're hard to master. Like, anybody can pick up and play Mario 64 and have a good time, but the truly master the controls and Mario himself is super satisfying, and once you do master it, you're just gonna push yourself further and further for better time after better time. Normally with speedrunning communities, a lot of them can seem very toxic to newcomers. However, I found the exact opposite with the Mario 64 community. And while I know I shouldn't be taking that into an account as to why I like the game itself, it does play a major contributing factor to my enjoyment and fulfillment that I got from the game. Speedrunning aside, it is a very solid 3D platformer with wonderful set pieces and design. But the thing that stands out most to me in all of Super Mario 64 is the soundtrack and sound font. Even outside of the general gaming community, these songs are well known, like Peach's Secret Slide, I still see in Vines and stuff all the time. Don't get me wrong, I don't live in 2016, Vine is not what I'm talking about, but it was the first platform that came to mind. But anyway, back to the topic at hand, the big thing that I love about the soundtrack is that it's just so bouncy. It has that big band feel that was popular in like the 1950s and 60s, but it's also kinda just like mellow. And it all depends on where you are in the castle, obviously, but with songs like Peach's Secret Slide, Dire Dire Docks, Lethal Lava Land, you get all these wildly different tones, but they're all interconnected with that one sound font, and it's just super cool to me. If you're out there in the world of gaming, this is a game you definitely should have played at some point, whether you have any interest in it or not. I'm not gonna force you to do so, but I am giving my wholehearted recommendation. Number 3, Crazy Taxi. 10 minutes. 10 minutes is all you get in Crazy Taxi. There's no overarching story, there's no special goal you gotta do. You pick up the people, you drop them off. Simply playing for a better rank and high score at the end of the day. If you were curious, my high score is 28 customers and a Class S license. I always play as Axel. I don't have any ill content towards the other drivers, he's just too rad to pass up. It's a simple arcade game from a much simpler time. Yes, it's a little bit on the violent side, yeah, it has that punk rock attitude that absolutely stunk up the 90s and early 2000s, but I think that's endearing to me. The game's usage of real-life shops and places within its little digital world blew my mind when I was younger. Like, I could just drive a lady to a KFC, or like to the Levi's store. In real life, that sounds boring as shit. But in video game, oh baby, sign me up. For this video, I'm primarily talking about the Dreamcast version, because it still had the licensed songs that were in the arcade version. But I will say that later releases, like the PS2 and GameCube, had the addition of Crazy Box, which was like a mini game mode, and that was by far where the bread and butter of my time was spent after I got those versions of the game. I will say one very cool feature about the Steam version specifically of Crazy Taxi is that you can put your own music into the game just by going and putting them into files. As long as they're in an MP3 format, they'll actually just load right into the game, no problems at all. Like, I know that's such a small detail to actually obsess about, but the idea of being able to just be playing Crazy Taxi and all of a sudden a song by my band comes on, I'm just like, holy shit, because I put like 200 songs in that fucking thing. And to have it randomly shuffle from like a Korn song to like a Buried by Mistake song absolutely makes my day every single time it happens. If you like arcade style racing games but don't really like the we're going around a track aspect of it, this might be the kind of change of pace that is great for you. Number 2, Doki Doki Literature Club. Doki Doki Literature Club is a visual novel that came out in around 2017, and from the moment that I played it, I was absolutely hooked. What you're seeing on screen now was my 2018 playthrough with my cousin Aaron, in which we decided we're gonna make the main character Shrek for some reason. I'm not sure how it happened, but we also wound up locking Jerry Seinfeld into a closet. It's a long story, I'll just put a annotation up in the corner. Go check that out if you want to. It's a mess, but it's a fun time. Shameless self-promotion aside, let's talk about Doki Doki. It is by far one of the craziest twists and turns that I've ever had from a visual novel. I'm not gonna spill anything here, so I'm gonna keep the segment for this game fairly short. If you like visual novels in any way, shape, or form, this is for you. You didn't really think I'd let you off that easy, would you? This is number 2 after all. Doki Doki was created by a man named Dan Salvato, and we'll actually be hearing about him again in our number 1 game, but it's not no way you would possibly think. Anyway, from what I understand, Dokyoki was originally brought about as a parody of the actual visual novel culture, considering how they all work off very basic and structured stereotypes. But somewhere along the way, something changed, and it took itself a little more seriously, and it kind of twisted its own narrative, and it became my single favorite visual novel I have ever played. Granted, I haven't played a bunch of them, but I played some all throughout different eras, and this is by far my number one. The basis of the game is simple. You are a high school student and you go visit a club because your friend asked you to, and you are starstruck by the women that are in the club, that is Monika, Natsuki, Yuri, and Sayori. Sayori is your friend, by the way, in the situation. I forgot to mention that. This story starts as you would probably expect it, but it quickly flies off the rails with every little decision you make, and you can very clearly see that something's not quite right about 20 minutes in. The game continues to unravel itself as you discover its secrets, and that's even more further than Doki Literature Club Plus, but we're not putting that on the list, we're specifically putting the original PC port. I'm sure the extra content that Plus offered is very cool, but it's stuff that I've seen throughout like videos and everything, and I didn't really feel a need to go back and play it, but I do revisit the original Doki at least once a year, just because there's a lot of like memorable lines, poems, a lot of really fun little anecdotes in it, and with that being said, then I will finally let you go. If you like visual novels, this is the one you need to play. It's cutesy, it's fun, and it does get a little bit spooky if you're interested. Alright boys, and before we can get to our number one game on this entire list, it's time for a couple honorable mentions. So rather than going into this whole big thing with all the honorable mentions, I'm just going to list them off really quick for you and put their cover art on the screen. Dead or Alive 2, Diddy Kong Racing, Dr. Mario 64, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Eternal Champions, NBA Street Volume 2, Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Resident Evil 4, Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, Sonic the Fighters, and Wario Land 4. I'll go over those a little bit more in depth in the actual recap episode, but as for now, I just wanted to list them out so you guys can get a general idea of what else I play outside of this general list. And now for the time you've all been waiting for. Number 1, Yoshi's Story. That's right, boys. Did anybody have it in the comments? Did anybody have it in their mind? My favorite game of all time is Yoshi's Story. And fun fact, it is the only game in my entire collection that I have the strategy guide for. And I will probably put a picture of it up on screen now, just so you know that I'm not fibbing, it's here. Before we take a dive into what is Yoshi's Story and everything else, I should preface it by saying I love the entire Yoshi series. There's only maybe one game I'm looking at you touch and roll that I don't actually like. Fun fact, there was also a plush set made for Yoshi's Story all the way back in 1998 by BDNA, and I used to have the entire set. I was super dedicated to the entire Yoshi franchise. I would get every single color, every single thing I could possibly get. Now I'm an adult, and those plushes are like 20 years old. Of course, I don't have them anymore. My parents probably donated them or something like 15 years ago. But what I do have are the Nintendo All-Stars Yoshi plushes. You know, the cute ones that sit down. I currently have 6 of the 10 in this set. I'm waiting to get the other 4 until I can find them at a reasonable price, but I will be completing the set as an homage to Yoshi's Story as well. I just figured I'd let you guys know that before we actually hop into the game, just a little bit more about me. Anyway, boys, let's stop farting around and let's get into Yoshi's Story. So, the basis of this game is that Baby Bowser is stealing the Super Happy Tree off of Yoshi's Island. Yes, the same Yoshi's Island from Super Mario World, from Yoshi's Island, from Yoshi's Island DS, like all those games, they have the Super Happy Tree, and it's how the Yoshis stay all bright, colorful, and happy. Well, he's stealing the bitch, and we're gonna go get it back. But keep in mind, in order to make it all the way to Baby Bowser's castle to get this happy tree back, then Yoshis need to stay happy along the way. And how do they do that, of course? By eating fruit. That's right, Yoshi's Story is technically a collectathon. Your entire goal is to collect 30 fruit in each stage. There's also an extra challenge you could do. There's exactly 30 melons hidden in each and every stage. And of course, doing such gives you a higher score towards your end goal. At the beginning of each game of Yoshi, Yoshi's Story, in the story mode, you'll be assigned one lucky fruit, and that fruit will be your best friend throughout the entire journey. If you eat it, it'll immediately refill your entire health bar, along with providing more points on your results screen at the end of each stage. But it's not as simple as just eating 30 fruits in each stage and moving on to the next. In each stage, you also have to collect hearts, which is also how you unlock more stages. For instance, there's 6 pages in the game and each page has 4 levels. That means there's 24 total levels in a game. So you can play through, say, World 1-1, get 3 hearts, and make it to World 2-4. But if you don't get any hearts in World 2, then you have to go to 3-1. So each heart you get unlocks another stage in the next world. Yoshi feels very fluid in this game, and he's very, very floaty. With that being said, him being as floaty as he is, especially with his extra little flutter jump he can get, he feels a little bit broken. Like the game's just a little too easy. However, once you reach those page 6 levels, you're gonna be questioning everything you know about this game. What you once thought was easy, you'll be butt clenching, you'll be doing everything you never thought you'd be doing in a Yoshi game. Like, do you think you'd be evading giant swords? Do you think you'd be jumping in and out of hydraulic presses? Yeah, that sounds like Yoshi to me. All joking aside though, there's absolutely no difficulty curve. It is completely dead flat until the last stage. And then it just ramps up out of absolutely nowhere. Which is such a shame because the final boss, Baby Bowser himself, isn't actually that great. He doesn't really attack you. It's super weird, and I'm not gonna spoil the boss fight for you obviously, because the game only takes about an hour to beat if you're serious. Of which I am very serious about the Yoshi's Story games. And you know who else is very serious about Yoshi's Story games? The creator of Dokyoki Literature Club, Dan Salvato. This is actually how I found out about Dokyoki. He was the world record holder in Yoshi's Story speedruns in every single category. And I would regularly go to his Twitch streams, and that's how I actually found out that he was a game developer. And I am so thankful for Yoshi's Story that it also put me onto Dokyoki. I know that is such a weird comparison to make, but that's just the way the cookie crumbled in that situation. By the way, Dan is a super nice guy. I'm not gonna keep rambling about how great this game is. I'm just gonna tell you to play it and look at the screen. If anything you've seen on the screen is even just cute to you, just spend 30 minutes playing this game, even if you only play a level or 2. Yoshi's little sound bites and his little whips and wops and his noises are just too cute. Don't even mention Poochie. That guy is just a little ball. He's a cute little guy. Except for Miss Warp. I forgot about her. She's a nightmare creature and deserves to be thrown into the East River. Obviously, I've recommended a lot of games to you throughout this entire series, but none more so than Yoshi's Story. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes to know whether or not you'll like the game. Just please, emulate it. Get a cartridge. Anything. Play this game. You have no excuse. If you're watching this, I know you have some sort of smart device, so you can emulate it, even on your phone. Controls are very simple, and even on just a phone screen, you should have a good time with it. And just like that, congratulations, we made it to the end. That wraps up our list. All 100 games in the book. Have you tried any of the games I recommended? Have you played any of the games on the list? Do you have any thoughts, feelings, or anything about the list? I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. By the way, I am super sorry about this video coming out as late as it has, because I have just been so incredibly busy with everything in my life, and I will give a major update on that in a little bit with the recap video. But all I want you to know now is that I'm healthy and that I'm safe, which ties back into the cryptic message I gave last episode, where I said I'll reveal the real reason I actually made this list and why I'm doing this video series. So I'm not gonna go through a whole sob story and everything, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up, be as transparent as possible with you guys, that I'm as genuine as, I'm just trying to be clear, concise with everything I say, and I do. I had cancer for about 2.5 years, and it wasn't getting any better. And then I had an option to take a very risky surgery to have it removed, and it was a success. And with that short little stint where I didn't know whether or not I was going to make it, I decided I'm gonna make a big project just to leave behind to show a piece of me. And there is no bigger piece of me than my relationship with video games. So I decided I was going to share that with everybody and all of you. And still being around to see all the reactions and everything from this has been wonderful. I think you guys have recognized it by now, but this whole episode has been re-recorded multiple times. And I'm sure you could tell by how long it took me to get it out, because I've scrapped so many scripts for this, and I just decided to do it all off the top of my head. Don't think I haven't seen all the comments, all the positive feedback, all the likes, the views, and I'm so thankful for all of it. Especially guys like Rolly. And I don't mean to specifically call him out or anything, but even after I stopped uploading, he still came back and checked on me, and I really did appreciate that, and I wouldn't be here also without Raider. He's been on my ass about getting this video out as well. I think he's just antsy to see the top 5, or maybe he wants to see me finish the project. That I don't know, either way what his motives are, but I do appreciate him trying to keep me motivated. All I'm trying to say, guys, is that I'm thankful for all the support we've gotten, and I greatly appreciate everything that you guys have put into this series, all the feedback I've gotten, and for the last time, let's do our little recap. At number 5, Undertale. Number 4, Super Mario 64. Number 3, Crazy Taxi. Number 2, Doki Doki Literature Club. And number 1, my favorite game of all time, Yoshi's Story. But now that our journey's over, your journey with me doesn't have to be. I still have a couple other video ideas in the work, and the recap video will be announcing the winner to our competition. I'm going to give you guys until May 1st to comment on any video in the series on what your favorite game is and a Super Smash Bros. Melee character you would like to use in our CPU bracket, and the winner gets any game from the entire list of your choosing. I really hope to hear from you guys in the next one, and I'll see you in the recap. But before I'll let you guys go, I'm going to give you guys a little teaser of something I've been working on for the recap itself. From Yoshi's Story, where colors collide, to the ending gems in our hearts we confide. Through every level, we've conquered the grind. Thank you for watching, you're one of a kind. So what you just heard is actually a snippet of a song that I've been working on for the recap to show off part of our journey. And since I can't personally sing, not only from the surgery, but also I could never sing to begin with, I have masked and modulated my voice and then basically combined it with AI to create a false voice to sing the actual track. But I did write the song myself and prepared all the instruments myself. I really hope you guys enjoyed not only the song, but the video, and I'll see you in the recap. Bye-bye.